Well, hello, welcome to another FM Scout content video with me, Johnny, AccessEuphoria. Today's video is about, basically, the most important thing. It's finance management. If you don't have the finance management, you are gonna not have the money available to buy players or offer contracts and all that kind of good stuff. And it's also gonna damage your board rating. You know, if you're not managing your finances, it's gonna impact on your board confidence to do so. So this is a very important thing to do, and hopefully I can give you a few tips on ways to keep yourself in the black wherever possible. Sometimes it isn't possible, but wherever you can, hopefully this will guide you in the right way. If you haven't already, please feel free to go check out AccessEuphoria. That is my channel. I'm currently doing a Leeds United playthrough that's been a lot of fun so far. Started in a beta, we're going so far, and then I will be very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks, early December, depending on obviously where you watch this video, it might already be out. We'll be going and doing a Build a Nation series with a smaller nation in Europe. We did the same last year with ARK in Sweden. We'll be doing a new one this year, so come on and check that out. But let's get into it. Well, let's get into it then. So this is finance management, and it's obviously important for very different reasons. Obviously, you want to keep the club in a good, healthy financial status, because that long term, especially if you're doing a long-term series, long-term save, if the club isn't making money and you drive it into the ground, you're never going to really get anywhere. You're never going to achieve greatness unless somehow, with what you've got already kind of and on a tight shoestring, you can over-deliver and get in the Champions League group stages and earn lots of money from that. But even Europa League isn't going to get you a lot of money, and yeah, it's going to be a very difficult save if you're going to play it that way and not really care about your finances. But also, it's in your board confidence here, club finances. So if you're starting to struggle in other areas, you want to be doing your finances right. It's so easy to manage it if you start doing so from the off. If you're not doing that and then you have a big struggle in the league, that could be the difference between you staying or getting sacked. And that would be really disappointing to lose maybe a big save that you've been doing or something like that based on basically not being able to manage your finances. So, if you have a look at FC Midland here, you can see that from the start, they're already overspending on their wage budget. They don't have much transfer budget. They've not got a lot in the balance, just £500,000. They've got 4.8 million profit, so clearly a lot of money is coming over the summer. Probably sold some players, and they was heavily in the red before that. So you can see that they've just barely got a balance, and they've got all that money over the summer. So something's clearly not right. So if we look at their finances and the projection tab first of all, at almost £11 million they're projected to lose over this year. Then almost 20 by next year, 27 by the year after. It's not looking good for them. Next thing to check then is your debt. So they've not got really a lot of debt. So that's not the issue. Clearly it's just they can't afford what they have now. So the easy way to see why is basically if you look at some of the facilities as well. So if you look at a club, they've not got a huge stadium. So 11,500 is not, you know, it's not going to pack it out even in the big games and earn them a lot of money. They're going to earn okay-ish money. You know, they're not in the Champions League, so there's not really a big chance of going in and getting the big £10 million Champions League money or anything. So that's obviously going to be a problem for them as well. But the main thing I think is just obviously they're spending a bit too much on, say, like your wages and things like that they just cannot afford at this level earning the money they are. You know, this isn't England in the Premier League. They aren't earning huge TV deals, so they're just struggling. And if you want this save to continue, you need to fix that. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge struggle. The main things that I've got for you then, the main tips. And first of all, the biggie, go do straight away is go to your transfers tab and hit clauses. In here is your ins and out clauses. It's one of my big top 10 tips as well, but basically go in here and look for any with a yellow pound sign. Those ones you can cash in. Obviously that can be in and out, so you can buy ones for players you've bought in for a cheaper amount. But for example, Winston Reid here is obviously at West Ham. 20.5 million is worth. We got a buyout for 2.61 million based on his 10% next transfer fee, and that is worth it. You've seen the financials of this club. We need that money, so these things can come and go. So keep checking on a very regular basis, because you never know when they might come in, and they can be a godsend to a club in bad financials. So that 2.61 million, we're going to sell that because we need it right here and now. You can see we've got it, and boom, it's in the balance. That's give you a little bit more transfer budget, but don't go spending that because you're only going to make the financials worse. The club already is spending too much money. That is what we've already identified. So we need to fix that. Now, the first thing we're going to do is make an adjustment so that, you know, the board can see that we're managing the finances. So the committed spending is 142. We'll put it to 148. Basically, that means that, as you can see, we've got nice healthy stats in both transfer and wage budget. We've improved the overall balance a little bit as well. So if we now look at the projection, it is a little bit better. You know, it's down to 8.7 million. It's still not great. Now, the next thing we can do then, in terms of quick fixes, is we can go and do some fixtures. Now, the main thing to do in terms of your friendlies is if you have a home friendly, you can obviously earn a bit more money for it. For example, if we go to, I don't know, let's go Chivas, we can earn a little bit of money from that. Now, if you go for a club like that, it's not going to help. Now, mostly you want clubs that are your sort of division, but if we try and find what's a bit cheap, a bit nearby, for example, you make £5 off there. It's a bit hard because obviously the main dates I'd want is weekends, but there's not many available because we're already in the league. I mean, if we look here, for example, let's try it here. Let's go for similar. So Copenhagen. So for example, this is what you want. Teams in your division that say like the big teams. So if you're in England, a Man United, a Chelsea, an Arsenal. As you see, you can make £40,000 from that friendly alone. So yeah, that's just easy, quick money for doing a friendly. You could even do it during the season when you have international breaks or whatever. You know, you could just play out a youth team out or something. It doesn't really matter, but it's free money. The other thing you can do is a cup competition. So if you go to the friendly match and change it to a cup competition, it goes over 2 days. So if we now change and have, for example, let's go for, let's see if they need large foreign teams. So we'll bring in Dynamo Kiev and who else is about? Shakhtar potentially. So we've now, it's going to cost us £300,000 to pay these other clubs, but we're going to make 475. That's £175,000 profit from that cup competition. So you could do that every year, and that's almost 200 grand pure profit from just doing friendlies. Now, obviously, you're going to need to pick big teams to do it with, and you're probably going to get beat because of that. So what I would recommend is doing that early in your preseason and then having a lot of smaller teams. But again, at home, because you make more money from home games, you know, depending on your stadium size, to then win those games and build your confidence back up. So obviously, if you play against all big teams, yes, you'll make some more money, but your confidence will be shot because you've lost every game, your dynamics will be awful, and you're probably going to your first game and lose it. So yeah, just balance it out, play some big teams, earn that bit of money for free, but then play some little teams just to get your confidence back up for your players. And that's why I'd recommend doing it early in preseason as well. You can forget about it. You can earn the money and forget about it. But that's a nice little easy way, quick way to just earn yourself a bit of money. Now, the other thing I'd recommend is obviously players. If you're not going to be using certain positions, don't just keep them around your squad. Sell them. Even if it's a case of, you know, there could be good squad depth. Have you got a youth player that's on less money per week, you know, wage-wise, you could bring up and let that player go? You know, for example, if you're going to have a backup keeper on 1.2 grand, you know, they're not great, they're just a backup keeper. Could you sell this guy? It gets you 200 grand, it gets you 1.2k off the wage budgets, and then you could look and try and just bring in a youth team player, a youth goalkeeper. So this guy is 2-star, he's not that far away from what you've currently got up there. And yet he's on £900. So yes, it's not a huge saving, but you kind of get the idea. If that player was on 3 or 4 grand, for example, you could make a huge saving there. That's going to make a massive impact over several years to your club finances. The other thing to do is in players on loan. If you're, you know, again, players on loan and youth players in your B team, you're not really using them right now anyway. So bring them back off loans if you can, or if you've got a young player with bags of potential. So let's say this guy, for example. Maybe he's not good enough to be in your first team right now, but he's got bags of potential. He's going to be a wonder kid, and some big teams come knocking. Sell him on for as much money as you can, and also put a sell-on fee in, because again, like that Winston Reid deal, in a couple of seasons, you might be able to get another $1 million or $2 million for that player for doing absolutely nothing other than putting a clause in that gets you money. So that's a huge thing, you know, that'll help you get going. But then you might be able to get some free money off this guy, even though you're not going to play him, and that way it's not affecting your first 11. Obviously, the other thing to do, like I mentioned, if you're not going to use a certain position, like let's say you're going strikerless, sell your strikers. You know, if you're not going to use wingers, sell your wingers. You know, for example, that's £600,000. That's 4.4k off the wage budget there. That's a huge amount of money to a club that's struggling for finances. The other thing is obviously balancing if you've got players that are worth quite a bit of money. So, for example, this striker's worth 1.5 million. This young striker with bags of potential is worth 1 million. You could probably get maybe 4 million, let's say, for those players, and that's cutting again your projected losses right down there. Now, you can't really go and invest it. You're going to need to keep that hold of that money. You could invest a little bit in youth conveyor belt, and that's a big thing that I would recommend. That's my next huge tip for you. we'll be doing youth conveyor belt, and it's a bit similar to like this player here. Is go out and find young players with bags of potential. They're probably going to be, let's say, a 2.5 star player in your squad now. So you want to try and bed them through. Then you sell off an older player worth more money. So a 26, 27-year-old in the prime, let's say they're worth £2 million. You sell that player, you get maybe £2-3 million. You replace them with a 250, a £300,000 youngster that obviously will develop within a few seasons. You keep doing that. A bit like the save I do with Building a Nation, buying lots of youngsters. The idea is obviously you continually developing these players so that when they're worth money, you sell them on, make a big profit, and you keep bringing through another youngster to hit their place. And again, once they get big, you sell them on. And that way you're constantly making, say, 2-3 million here. Occasionally you'll make big money, maybe £10 million. Obviously, it depends the size of your club and what the players are, but you might then go and make a huge profit on some players, and that could basically balance your books for 4 years or something silly like that. And again, once you then eventually start to balance your books and make healthy profit and not have to worry about that, you can then maybe start upping the amount of players and the better players you can bring in and things like that. The more that you can pay them, and obviously that will help you hopefully go up the leagues and get into Champions League, which is where you're going to make the big money and probably never ever worry about the finances side of things. Again, once you're earning Champions League group stage money, that's where it's all at. But that is some big key ways to go about and do it. You just basically make sure that you manage your finances so that your board is happy. Because again, that's going to make all the difference if you start struggling in some games. Your transfer clauses, that's a huge thing. Selling youngsters if you don't need them, doing youth conveyor belt, selling existing players that maybe are worth more money. If you're not going to use certain players, or if you're going to use a player as a squad player, if you've got an adequate young player that's going to make less money, sell an older player on. Use the young player, especially in those first few years, whilst you're getting the books balanced again, maybe clearing any old debt out and things like that. That's a key way to go. But that is some sort of quick, easy little tips for you. I mean, there's other things like, obviously, don't ask for big wage rises when you're maybe negotiating your own contracts, because it all comes out of the club finances. It's just easy wins like that. Staff-wise, don't have loads of staff, especially on big money. If you've got staff on big money, for example, I mean, not sure if there's many here. There's a couple, let's say this guy, backpack, on 2.8k as assistant manager. When that contract expires, I'm probably going to look and try and find a staff member on less money. That's another maybe a couple of grand you could save on your budget there. It all comes out of the club overall balanced. Yes, it might not affect, some things you do might not affect your actual budgets. All comes out of the overall balance. It's all your profitability in your club. So every little thing you can do will bring that projection better and closer to the black. And that's what you want to do. You want to have a club that's making money, because then you have a club that's making money, you're going to eventually then be able to invest good amounts of money into your squad, some great players, really kick on your goals. It means you're going to have a save that lasts a lot longer. And these kind of saves can be quite fun, having to do this kind of finance management side. It's a little bit different side to the game than just going out buying Ronaldo every time and winning the league every sort of single season with Man United. It adds a little different aspect, especially when you're a smaller club, so it can be really interesting. Now that's some of my top tips for you. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It's something a little bit different for you. If you've got any top tips for this kind of thing as well, drop it down below. If there's any other little areas you want to see my tips on, then drop it again in the comments, and I can hopefully do a nice video for you in the future. But thanks for watching, guys. Before you go, please do go check out AccessEuphoria. Like I said, I've got some great content on there. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. But give it a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed. Share it, like it, all the usual. I'll see you next time.